Welcome back to the Quiet on Set podcast. I'm Ewan Gruff, and as always, I'm joined by Lachlan Teely.
On episode 220, we're going to talk about the 10-time Oscar-nominated film, The Brutalist, and if this episode is to go any longer than the 1 hour and 40-minute mark, there will be a 15-minute intermission during this special presentation of the Quiet on Set podcast.
Well, the Oscar nominations are in, and Emilia Pérez is somehow on top with 13 nominations. But we'll talk about the surprise search of I'm Still Here, which picked up 3 nominations, and the score snub for challenges, but all of that later on in news.
Cool.
Yeah, let's get into it, Lachlan.
Oh, I said, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Fuck, we've done 220 episodes, and I feel like we are still just like so bad at this intro.
We are professional.
This is a professional podcast.
Yes. Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Hello there. Which actually,
Did you
this
get
is gonna
me a
be
hat
a
as
bit,
well?
Yes.
So I've got Dooncam. It's just a camera with my Dune steelbook.
There's a bit of banter we're gonna kick it off with today. We're not gonna jump straight into like a 3 hour, almost 3.5 hour long movie. Straight away. We do have to warm you up to it, and I believe you got some physical media to show us, which is a great way to start off the day.
It's not movies, because I finished a game a few weeks ago, Under the Waves, and I was just doing some research into other games, and I wanted something cinematic, and I heard this game was pretty cinematic, so I copped a copy of this at a secondhand store. So it's like a werewolf in 1886 London, and it's got forced letterboxing to be all cinematic and shit. So yeah, it was also like $20 digitally, and I was like, nah. This cost me $6, so hell yeah. This cost me a little bit more, but it's the only game in the series that I don't actually own, and it's just a copy of Metal Gear Solid 4 on PlayStation. PlayStation 3. I still own one of the PlayStation 3s, so I played it last year. And one thing I really, really appreciate, and I really appreciate it when people think about this, right? But this is a little instruction book that literally has like suggestions in the game, and this is just like some detail that doesn't go into every game, but it's really cool that it has like examples of how to like climb walls and actually like play the game. This shit is so much fun just to see the little details given to games. So that's all I got. There was no DVDs I saw interesting to get for movies this week. So on my day off, I went around and looked at other things, such as that.
Gaming stuff, I guess. Yeah, no, we've been both doing that. I mean, I have not been able to keep my hands off Marvel Rivals. It's just been
I've heard. I've seen as well on Steam.
Yeah, I've played it for a couple hours, and whenever like I've had a couple of longer edits to do for the show in the last couple of weeks, and it was always like when I'm exhausted to a point of like something's not working or some tech stuff is just like fucking up. I message Kevin like, yo, couple games, and then we play until we get at least one win, and then we move on. But I did yesterday. I think I got my first, because when I play with Kevin, he's like he's I don't know. It felt like he already has like 70, 80 hours in the game, which I don't know how you play that much, but
he does.
He does, and he's like level 20 or 23 or something like that. I don't know. He's played a bunch, so he's usually in the casual lobbies. He's always like is often the MVP and biggest KD and everything. But yesterday in our last match, I did get my first MVP, and I just wanted to share that like a little kid goes up to like pulls the thing and is like, Daddy, I got MVP in Marvel Rivals. And I'm playing as the Punisher.
Isn't it crazy that the most successful Marvel thing recently has been a video game?
Yeah, it is. And to me, it's like, okay, it kind of makes sense because people still love this property, this franchise, this whatever. There just hasn't been movies that get them excited, and they've gotten a reputation of making mediocre films recently.
Also,
but there's a hunger for it, man.
I'm not sure if we're allowed to share this nugget of information, so censor me out if I can't share this, but your press screening is like the day before release, which is not a great
no,
indication.
we can talk about that. Yeah, no, we
Is
can
it?
talk
Yeah.
about that. I often talk about that because it's like usually gives you an indication if something is good or bad.
Yeah.
And that's just, it seems bad. I mean, that's the impression I got. I mean, you know, it's not like that's sensitive information. I'm not basing it off anything that I've seen. It's just something that we noticed. If it's like a day before, it's usually not, you know, because they want to give us enough time for critics to talk about it, because people have already pre-purchased the tickets and all that, you know. I think that's one of the reasons to work around. I mean, that movie has been, Brave New World has been in reshooting hell for months.
Ages, yeah.
So if it comes out decent, I mean, that's great for them, but I think it's not gonna. Marvel Rivals will probably be, at the end of the year, the most successful thing that Marvel does this year, unless Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four turns out great. But I think they're bringing two of the Fantastic Four characters into the game. They're already working into like the fucking whole franchising of everything with games and the thing is, the game is so polished, it is kind of annoying how like easy it is to jump into them, because there's so many casual players. It's never like, and I'm not someone who likes to go into competitive games and like grind it out, because I feel like that to me is a bit of a waste of time. I just want to have a good time, jump in, and don't feel like an idiot that is fighting against bots, but real people. And it kind of itches that spot at the moment for me. So I'll probably be playing more Marvel Rivals. Although at first I was like, why the fuck would I play this? It's a free game. What the fuck? It's actually pretty good. It's annoying. I mean, lastly, the day this episode comes out, Lachlan, it's your birthday! Woo!
Hey, yay!
Yeah.
I'll be 25 on the day this podcast. My last podcast at the age of 24.
Yeah.
When did we
quarter
start
of a
this
century.
podcast? When I was like 21.
We started it in January. I don't know if we started it before or after your birthday. I think it was just after your birthday. So in 2020.
So it would have been 20.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Long time.
Long time.
Long time. Speaking of long time, Lachlan, perfect segue.
For my birthday.
Into the Brutalist.
No, okay, never mind.
Long time. Not for a good time, but
yeah, sure.
Wait. No,
I was like, wow, okay.
Well, speaking of long time, is the trip that I'm taking to come visit you, Lachlan. No, actually.
Yeah, it's a
Can't
very
really do
long.
that,
It's a
but-
very long time to travel that, and also a very long run time.
Yeah, but we expect you to come in on Friday still hungover from all the partying you're doing as a 25-year-old.
Well, I've got Monday off work because I'm not fucking working on my birthday. That's
True.
like a big hard no.
Yeah,
but I've got stuff planned this weekend, so
Sounds good, yeah.
should be a good weekend.
But let's get to the Brutalist. I think
get
we
to the
can.
Brutalist.
Let's get to our main review.
Instead of
which
me
is the
talking
only
about
one review.
my alcohol problem, let's talk about a heroin problem.
Let's go. And he's the hero of the story in Brady Corbett's 10 times Oscar nominated Best Picture frontrunner. Maybe, hopefully it's not Emilia Pérez. I hope this or
Haven't
Nora
seen
is
it
the
yet.
frontrunner.
Can't make my own opinion yet.
Exactly. So it's going to be something interesting to search for. I don't want to make it our main review of the week, but hey, maybe if you got more than enough to talk about in the coming weeks, we might review Emilia Pérez as well. But yeah, what's the Brutalist all about, Lachlan?
It's a long one.
Yeah.
Escaping post-war Europe, visionary architect Laszlo Toth arrives in America to rebuild his life, his work, and his marriage to his wife, Elizabeth, after being forced apart during wartime by shifting borders and regimes. On his own in a strange new country, Laszlo settles in Pennsylvania, where the wealthy and prominent industrialist Harrison Lee von Buren recognizes his talent for building, but power and legacy come at a heavy cost.
And this movie is also quite heavy, with a heavy runtime of 215 minutes, has so far been received very favorably. Coming out of the Best Picture race, I guess Dune is Letterboxd published a list of like seeing where it ranks. It's so funny to drop off for Emilia Pérez, but it's very much high up on Letterboxd as well, with a 4.1 average and 8.1 on IMDb. On Metacritic, it's 90 off 53 reviews and 93% fresh over on Rotten Tomatoes on 231 reviews. It is distributed by A24 and had its premiere at the Venice Film Festival, where Kevin and I already caught it and reviewed it on the channel. And notable for us was that there weren't any subtitles. Kevin kind of needs that because he's hard of hearing, so there was something that he didn't completely take in. I wasn't really as taken as everyone else was with the film as well, calling it a masterpiece. I did rewatch it now. Spoilers here, I liked it a bit more on the rewatch, but I wouldn't go so far to call it a masterpiece. But what has been done masterfully is that it was made for a budget that is like a bit less than $10 million, which is truly impressive for the scale that it tells its story in, the setting, the roughness, the tangible nature of like the film look as well. And it's grossed $5.4 million so far, but with the Best Picture nominations and all of those other ones, and international release still coming up, for example, in Switzerland this week, and for Australia, it just started this week. It can hopefully make its money back, and I feel like it will definitely also be popular on VOD, which we don't have a release date for yet. But luckily, I'm curious because I've already shared my thoughts on this film on the channel before. Are you in the camp of like, this is close to a masterpiece, or is it just a really good movie, or did you not connect with it like similar a couple of weeks ago with A Real Pain?
So the only thing I had in terms of interaction with The Brutalist before seeing it was, one, I knew a lot of people were liking it for the score, so I actually listened to the official track list before seeing the movie, and I really liked it, but it was way better watching it in the actual film itself. And the other interaction is obviously seeing all of the positivity online, and I didn't want to feel like I'm being manipulated into liking it, but here's what I'll say. This film is split into two parts for the mostly. There's an intermission halfway through, and there's a clear separation of what the film is trying to say. I think the first half of this film is perfect. I think everything is perfect. I literally 5 out of 5 star film. I think it is literally at that point 5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. Kevin and I kind of shared that sentiment that like the first half is very strong, and we don't really have any flaws with it.
Cinematically, the music was perfect. The introduction, the American dream, which is what it was going after, and this story of an immigrant moving from a war-torn place that he loves and cherishes, and it was emotionally draining at the same time. The second half of the film, I'm not saying it's not perfect, but it definitely goes on a different way that the rest of the film was kind of setting up. And for me, I didn't not like it. I just wasn't ready for that, I guess. The runtime didn't matter to me. I know I'm someone who loves to say, 90-minute movies are the best, but I still love my epics, and this is a absolute fantastic epic to follow through, especially with how personal it is with the story and the narrative. I absolutely adored Adrian Brody, Felicity Jones. They were through and through. Like Adrian Brody at the start is fantastic. Felicity Jones in the second half it's definitely her section. But Guy Pearce throughout the entire thing is like super menacing, and without spoiling anything so quickly, the bad guy persona for him was just there straight away, and I was like, yep, I don't like you, I hate you, I'm not enjoying you, stupid white guy. This is easy to not like you, and that's what I loved, because I didn't like him straight away, and then you start to build this weird relationship with him, and you're like, actually this guy just is generally just a hard-working American, and then you're like, no, actually this guy sucks. No, this guy's really bad. And you go through these weird emotions, and you're like, why am I going through these emotions with a character? I liked him, I hated him, I liked him, like, what's going on? And you have the same thing with Laszlo. You like, you want to love him, but he's got these major flaws. And I feel like to have that range, you wouldn't have that in a 90-minute movie. You genuinely feel like you've sat there and you've experienced these guys' life in front of your hands, or in front of your eyes, I should say, and you really feel that weight. So let me stop ranting and let's talk about particulars. I know I talked about how like I really liked the first half, but narratively the story itself is, one, Laszlo creating his life in America, and then 2, the deconstruction of like the American dream. That's the big thing that I've seen, and a lot of people are kind of in the same boat, where the first half is what the American dream is, and the second half is breaking down the American dream of breaking down that idea. And I agree. I think that's a great example of what this film is kind of going for with the 2 parts. I do feel like there needed to be a bit more of what happened in the first part flowing in, because it really feels like it hard cuts off like storylines and a lot of like emotional weight, especially with the intermission, which, by the way, very important talking point here, the intermission. We need more of that.
You think so?
I went to the snack bar and got another drink, and I went to the toilet.
It is the standard here in Switzerland. Even it used to be at our theater after 90 minutes, and you get an intermission. Anything below that,
fantastic.
I hate it. But I hate it.
No. Let me tell you why. This one is good because it works for the story.
Yeah. This is different. It's also not every movie is 250.
It's well thought out,
long.
and that's good. So films that think about it, like if it's 90 minutes and then you go have an intermission and then you follow the last like 20 minutes, like nah, fuck off. That's not good.
But it's also distribution companies don't give you the time when to cut.
Of course.
I have to go into every single movie and find, like, it's annoying as fuck.
Yeah. So like I think a thought out intermission, not a cinema enforced intermission or something. I think a movie intermission is a fantastic point, because 1, it means I went and spent more money. There we go. We've just saved theaters. I've just spent more money on the stuff that actually makes money. Drinks.
True, but the film companies themselves or the filmmakers wouldn't really truly care about that. It had to be in benefit because they don't get any money. That's the part that like the cinema takes in.
Oh yeah, I know,
right?
But like, you know, like everyone wants everyone wants to save cinema.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Do you break apart your film just for that sake? Like,
why
not? I don't know.
Anyway.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they could definitely do it.
I loved it because I could stand up, stretch, piss, everything I needed to do. It was fantastic. But here's the problem.
You don't do that without a break.
I think this is why No, I don't. If I have to go to the toilet, I wait.
Well, I don't go to the toilet either.
I wait. I'm not missing anything, right? Or worst case scenario is that I use
diaper.
Run pee. You know Run pee?
Yeah.
I look at this before every movie, so I know exactly when I can go to the toilet if I really have to. Like, let's say it's dire, but I usually won't. I think the last time I actually like physically I'm gonna go to the toilet was like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna miss out on much. It's fine. Ape fight ape. It's full. Here's my problem. Here is actually my genuine problem with the intermission in this film, though. It happens just before the most emotional moment of the movie. The reunion between Laszlo and
you're saying
Elizabeth.
the same thing that Kevin is saying. It's funny.
And
it's actually so funny.
That is stupid. That is stupid.
It undercuts that moment.
It needs to happen the moment after. That needs to happen afterwards, after that scene, and that would have been fine. Because I sat back down, and then boom, and I was like, oh shit, we're straight back into this emotional. Like, there's no like you baked this intermission in. You literally baked this intermission in, so you know you are going to have to roll the emotion back in because people are going to talk, stretch, go to the toilet, snack bar, whatever, right? You go straight into that scene, and that made that scene super not that emotional to me. It's like, okay, no worries. Maybe they didn't care about the reunion as much, but I was just a little bit disappointed about how we've built up the last hour and 40 minutes of the reunion and then getting them back together, and that scene is just not to the emotional height that the rest of the movie had me at.
I think I get why it's played. I definitely agree with like it undercuts the like emotional payoff for that, because like in the lead up to the break, it's just a montage of them building and letters that he gets from her that are written out by Felicity Jones. So you build up to that thing.
Fantastic.
And then the intermission and then the intermission is basically giving you an extension of like how long like it feels that they have been apart. I don't know if there's like another, because the montage isn't dated, right? We don't know how much time has specifically passed then, but it felt to me like, okay, it's still like he spent so much more time there as well. And by the time they get to like that dinner thing with the like flick of the penny or whatever he does, it feels like he's so much more fed up already with the situation he's in. And it would otherwise maybe be a bit more of a hopeful moment that.
I mean, he's been there for 5 years now, right?
Yeah. I think I never got like as emotionally invested as some other people did. Like I've heard in Venice, people that we were talking to, we sat in a row of like with like 8 other people who were doing critic stuff there, and I think a couple of them said like they were moved to tears multiple times in this movie, and I'm someone who does get emotional if something gets me quite easily, and I was never even close with this movie.
Dude,
I
haven't cried in a movie in like 2 years or something.
We gotta get you there with something. What was the last? Can you remember the last one?
I have to go back.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I saw old fucking Harrison Ford come out of his wheelchair and I was just like, oh, move the tears. I don't remember the last movie I genuinely cried to. I did say, I think I will say this, but like the next movie I cried to, I'll probably just give 5 stars to straight away, because I feel like maybe I'm just an emotionless piece of shit, and
yes, that's it. It's definitely definitely not relate. That, I feel like a lot of people don't cry to stuff that is fine. It's just like, I don't know. It's very, very different in how you take stuff in. I don't know. It is like good.
I don't know. Yeah. Look, I really just disliked that sort of, because everything else about the narrative, oh man, like moving over, his cousin lets him work. He then fucks, like, well, something fucking happens. His cousin wants to throw him away. That entire scene, the face is in the dark. You can't see the cousin's face. I'm just sitting there just like, this is just so perfect. I'm sitting there just like, this is incredible. No, like the like everything. And I'm just like, this guy has had everything taken away from him, and he is still treated so poorly because he is lesser. Oh man, like it really got me fired up. Like I wasn't emotional, but I was getting fired up by the way that he was treated. That narratively, this film is I think fantastic. I think where it goes in the end is a little bit crazy. As I said, I think that the one particular character beat that they do to Guy Pearce's character, I feel like was just to make him more of a villain, and I feel like it wasn't as necessary as other character bits. I get it. That final moment with Felicity Jones is so, like, I was like, that's it. I was like best supporting actress. I was like that. Wait, did she get nominated for best supporting actress?
She did, but I'm a bit colder on her performance. I didn't really connect.
Oh, really?
That much.
I didn't love it. So you didn't like? Okay. Right. Okay.
I know. I'm a bit lower than most people on this film. Is again, it kind of left me because she's the perfect person to get like.
So what would you say is going to be your best supporting actress?
I think the best supporting actress race is kind of
Zoe Saldana.
Boring as fuck, to be honest. There's not a lot of like strong picks there, if I'm honest. But
Isabella Rossellini. I said that for Conclave.
I mean, Kevin sent me a video of her this morning where she was like thanking, and she's a bit of a nepo baby, you know, Rossellini, Robert Rossellini, and then Ingrid Bergman.
Alright, show off.
She's the daughter.
Just because you know people's family trees.
Wait,
anyway, I didn't mean to like switch to the Oscar thing so quickly.
Something later, but
you didn't like the performance. I thought it was great.
I think weirdly enough, I think if out of the 4, Barbaro, Grande, Jones, Rossellini, and Saldana, I would probably pick Ariana Grande, which feels crazy. And then next up I do have Monica Barbaro, and then maybe Rossellini, Felicity Jones, Saldana. I'm not passionate about any of them, to be honest. Guy Pearce is really good in it.
How good is he, right?
Yeah,
Guy Pearce steals the scenes.
The voice he puts on is just so.
It's so American.
Have I ever told you? I find conversations intellectually stimulating.
Oh, I knew he wanted to have sex with him as soon as he said that. I fucking knew it.
Well, it's also that I guess we are kind of in spoilers, which we have been for a bit. I'm sorry if you haven't seen it yet. Go see it out. Go seek it out. I think this is worth checking out. But I think his sort of claim of Laszlo as a person that like puts the trust in him. I didn't really read that as attraction as much as it is a cling for that sort of grasp and power he can hold over someone else. And I feel like that act of major spoilers here of like that sexual assault, that rape, feels to me like, no, I still hold the power over you, what he says to him as well while he does it in like, who do you think you are? Always keeping him down. And to me, like obviously we have political stuff going on, not a political podcast. They do have these like visas that are H1B1 that are supposed to bring in like talented people from overseas, which I think this kind of ties into as well. And the way that it's been used currently in the States is in a way where you can't do any other job than for the company you hired for. So you're like kind of bound to them. And this to me felt exactly like that. Like Laszlo has nowhere else to go with the success that he's gotten and with the talents that he has, other than this like be at the mercy of Harrison Lee Van Buren Sr. And that is kind of really depressing. And then I thought like, damn, okay, this shit is like relevant to this day still. But so I like that. I like that on the rewatch, noticing that a bit more. But I haven't said that yet. The score fucking bangs. Now the Challenges is nominated. I hope it wins.
What?
It deserves it.
What?
Challenges is not nominated for score. You haven't had a look at it.
I haven't looked at what categories.
Sorry.
I just got a list of every movie
no Challenges
that's nominated.
Anywhere,
I don't know what's nominated for what.
Nothing.
What? Queer.
No editing,
Queer.
nothing.
Daniel Craig,
Queer,
right? Queer.
No nominations for anything.
What?
No score. Nothing. I know. Yeah, no, there's nothing. Didn't get nominated for shit. Lachlan doesn't like that. It is pretty upsetting. I was pretty upset as well. Which, by the way, you can find the live stream of it on the channel while we wait for Lachlan to come back down.
I don't want to jump like the gun, but we may need to do an intermission on the Brutalist review so that we can get into the Oscar shit and then come back to the Brutalist. Because holy fuck, you telling me Daniel Craig did not get nominated for fucking Queer?
No.
What?
Yeah, no. There were some other people that got nominated, but he did not.
What?
Sebastian
and
Stan got in for The Apprentice, though.
Fucking Nine Inch Nails doesn't get a nomination for that shit?
Nothing. But we got Emilia Pérez Wicked got nominated for score. Which, what the fuck is the score? It's a musical. And Emilia Pérez, of course, also got nominated. Both of those movies should not be in. It just doesn't make sense. Like Wicked, great music, but that's not the score. It's pretty dumb.
Okay, let's keep talking about.
We gotta keep. The Brutalist is so because it's post Oscar. And it's fine if we have like this in between our review. I think it's fine.
Okay, let's fucking ignore story for a second here.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the cinematography for a second? Because I thought it was just gorgeous. The VistaVision color palette is just such a. I felt like I was watching like a movie from the 80s. 90s, and it's just, it just felt like one of those. This felt like a movie. This felt like.
I mean, I think you talked about this a few times this last year when you said like, okay, I want to have a return to like the feel of this epic film, and as epic as maybe Dune felt, it didn't really it didn't get there fully. And I think this is probably the closest we've gotten in a long time.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that I have felt that all of it just felt like this is a movie. And I didn't feel like it was trying too hard, but it just felt like it was the right tech, the right score. It just everything fell into place and was just like, this is perfect. And I say perfect, not lightly. Like I really loved this. There were often times where I was just, and it's not within scenes of characters, because when they have scenes with dialogue back and forths, it is quite simple. But there are some really interesting movements or placements of characters, the train tracks, the derailing, the train derailing. Oh.
There's long stretches and scenes where there's also no dialogue.
No, there's not.
And the very atmospheric and setting, and not that they would like halt the story just to showcase the scale of no, they do show the scale, but it's not just like we show you because we can. It always feels like it's adding to the whole there's so much tension with building a huge, what do you even call it? It isn't a monument, I guess. It almost feels like a mall of what they're
It
building.
was the Van Buren Center of something and something.
With a chapel, a library, a gym. And I
bar.
love the center point around it with like the noon sunset, the way that he does that presentation as well. It like, okay, so often films that are shorter as well, that don't take the time, have like these super cuts of the actual process of making something. And they show someone leading someone else. And I feel like a lot of this film is like the return to like what Laszlo is doing and has to do to kind of fight for his vision. And it doesn't really do that in montages where it feels like it is the scene starts and ends there. Because I feel like often with like montages, it does end up being that way. But I think the core of the film is about this act of creation and like the struggle of this person, like how much of his identity is like kind of wrapped into that. And then I think why a lot of people are gravitating towards it, that like the creative process for filmmaking, is because you can very easily just like kind of connect the dots, and it works as a great allegory for like any sort of like art, you know, where you are dependent on someone else giving you a job, others coming in and trying to get you to compromise, to get it cheaper, and not really seeing that would kind of kill the purpose of why, or like kill what you're trying to go for. And I mean, I like that part, of course, because but I feel like that's not why I like the film. I think it is very much just an epic character portrait, not just of one person, but also I feel like it feels like it is reflecting an America of that time quite well.
Here's something to think about. Here's something to think about. Okay, right?
Yeah.
So whose perspective does the film get told through?
His wife.
Yeah, right? Isn't that crazy to think that, like, whose perspective it is? And then if you think about it, she says...
But she says she
saw
while
him.
she was gone, when in bed.
As soon as she said that, I was just like, what? Have I just been not taking this as, like, a viewer, but, like, the perspective of the wife? Like what? This is crazy. That is where... So that's the part where the second half got me back in. When she said that, it made me rethink about the whole first half again. I was like, fuck, no, this movie's back on track for me because she said that, and that's got me really excited. But yeah. So
I mean, it's really good. It is, obviously, this is really hard to sell to a general audience. And I'm really curious because we are starting it at our theater soon as well. First of all, who is scheduled to do those screenings? Because they'll be there until like almost midnight, which is crazy.
The last screening for this was at 7:30, and I got out at 11:30. So like, it's a long time.
It's a long one. Then the question is like, will people show up for it? I know for us, smaller theater, I don't expect a ton of people to come see it. It doesn't even matter if it gets like Oscar nominated or great reviews. For example, we had September 5 show at our theater, and it really didn't do as well because it had so many great reviews. Obviously, a movie like this depends on award success for that sort of interest. You looked at it like, these are the Oscar nominated films, right? How many of them do you have to see to kind of be up to date? And a lot of people go by that. Okay, these are the best movies, and then maybe they get like fed up with, okay, I don't like this Oscar baity type of movies, right? And then there's always that discrepancy. But they will go to this and have it on their radar because it is 10-time Oscar nominated, like second most out of all of the nominees. I feel like, I don't know, it's really hard to say how it will be received by a more general public if it ever gets that audience. But I think it has so much, it has a lot going on. It even has like memeable moments. So I feel like it is the full package for like a great film that everyone's joking about like how long it is, but it's great. It's way more accessible than I think some Scorsese films are. Like Killers of the Flower Moon, I think was amazing, but I feel like it was in some ways a bit less accessible than this. But I don't know if that. Hey, I'm just yapping at that point. At this point, but
yapping.
I like it. I like a good movie. But not my favorite out of the Best Picture 10. And does it for you like come close to beating something like Anora? Where you're like, this should win.
In
this
Best
should win
Picture?
Best Picture?
No, I still think Anora was more entertaining for me. I feel like I could just when Anora eventually comes out on DVD, I feel like I could just whack that on and enjoy that. I feel like with this, I have to wait until I want to rewatch it. I immediately wanted to like rewatch Anora just to experience the ride, the high again. But with this, it is an effort to watch it, and I get it. Not many people want to sit down and watch films this long, and it does take a decent amount of energy to watch something like this, especially when it's also quite emotionally draining and quite, I don't want to say like in depth, like it's the film isn't that complicated to follow, but it definitely tries to do some, emotionally manipulative things to you in a way where you immediately kind of like you kind of leave the theater defeated. And that's the weird thing. You don't leave the theater
definitely
happy.
It is a depressing movie if you look at it. He's a heroin addict who years after, like a decade after, can't shake what he couldn't complete, but still wants to go back to get that hit, even if other people around him have been able to move on. He has not been able to move on. I caught up with a friend this week who told me that when he went, because he was at the London premiere of the Anora, that when Anora got off the plane and said the whole spiel to the mum, people were applauding, happy that that she got that moment. There is never that moment in this film, because it just feels like you're getting more and more claustrophobic with this world becoming more and more depressing, but more and more like what the real world actually is. Pretty fucking depressing. So, it's fucked up. Like I said, there's also a lot of like connections that you can draw to current day of how these material conditions haven't really changed that much. And it feels like, okay, well then there must have been some real truth that he captured here to go from like B to back to A in a sense. All the tech stuff all around, I think the sound, not just the score in this film, are like outstanding as well. I really like the mix. There's really not a single thing that I can point to say like there's something that I really don't like about it. I still, for my rating, am only at an 8 out of 10. But I think it's a really, really strong film. Just wasn't like up there as like one of my favorites of the year. But I mean, there's a lot of love for it to go around. So I feel like I don't need to pile on just for the sake of like, no, actually, guys, I do like it just as much as you do. It's because I feel like you said, like you didn't want to go into this film already expecting to love it because everyone else has been loving it, right? You wanted to experience, like, find
I think
that for yourself.
There's also an aspect to not being American and not being an American migrant. Like every country, the quote unquote country's dream, right? Like the American dream is such a different thing to like the Australian dream, or maybe like the Swiss dream. Each country, jeez, Australia is just like owning a Land Cruiser and fucking and just going full driving each weekend. But each country's like dream
Yours,
of
it's not being lactose intolerant.
Yeah, so. is all very different. And I'm not, again, I don't think that you have to. I'm not saying that you have to be an American immigrant to understand this film, but so much of our opinions are based on personal perspective and our own experiences. You can definitely connect. Just because I'm not a fucking American Russian sex worker doesn't mean I connected to Anora straight away. Like I still loved Anora and I still enjoyed that narrative. I'm not the chosen one in Dune. I'm not Timothy Chalamet in Dune. I still love that movie. There is an element to this where I'm just not going to get it because I don't experience the American dream. I know what it is, but I'm never going to experience it. And that's okay, because my rating is still at a 4-star. But similar to films I've said recently, it's a solid 4-star film. Nosferatu was a solid 4-star film. I might be able to go up. I am not dipping underneath that. But 4 stars is where it's at. And that is such a, 4-star. For me, the second half is what brought it down more than anything else.
I mean, look, if you had to choose, you get either one 5-star movie a year, or you get 10 4-star? Like,
I'll take
which
10
one would you go
4-stars.
with? Exactly. You want that variety, and I think this
I'll take
year
10 4-stars.
Kevin brought that up, comparing last year's and this year's lineup of movies, and we kind of drew the parallels of like what's this year's whatever. But to me, it's also underneath that. This year we had a ton. I mean, last year we had that too, and it's just about like finding those great picks. Even if I guess some Academy Awards body isn't really there. Maybe we don't have the highs of like an Oppenheimer and the depth of like a cast where a depth of a Best Picture lineup where Maestro seems to be the worst out of the bunch. Just, okay, well, there's something this year that you can find, and I've had some people say like they've watched way less this year. They just didn't get around to the theater, or even though they like tried to go or like to go. But there's a ton out there that is worth seeing, and I don't think it's a horrible year. We just have like one that has a ton of nominations that, to me, in my opinion, is pretty horrible. But hey, every now and then, I guess you do get that. But it also makes sense in the not a political podcast, in the political landscape right now, the way that it's used as like a reactionary term to like just be against that. But that's not the end of the world. I think it just speaks for the persistence of cinema that movies like this can still be made and are championed. Imagine if Megalopolis was actually great this year, dude. Would have been amazing. 2 epics.
It's a shame it has not been nominated for anything.
Yeah. Well, it will be for the Razzies, I assume, but those are a joke anyways. But yeah, anything else? Any closing notes for Brutalist?
No, not really.
Double feature-wise, I just kind of wanted to go with someone who struggles with their artistic vision as well, that is caught in another American town, a bigger one, not Philadelphia, but in New York, with Charlie Kaufman's Synecdoche, New York. It's just stunning movie. I had that at a 5-star on the first watch. I really loved Synecdoche. I haven't seen it since. I've only seen it once. I feel like The Brutalist doesn't hold as much as Synecdoche. I feel like Synecdoche is so much to discover, and The Brutalist is a bit more straightforward. Doesn't make any of them lesser, of course, but I feel like that's a decent double feature pick. Lachlan, what about you?
I have no idea. I honestly don't think
go on a pee break. But I mean, it's a 3 hours and 30 movies. 3 hours 30 movies. 3 hours and 30 minutes. So it's fine if you after this don't want to watch a second feature. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Oh God, what would I want to watch after I watched? I think I've got something. Do I have something?
I don't know. Do you have something? I mean, look, I think a great pick would be a 15-minute intermission in your day. So after this film, you take another 15 minutes. Just
so I was gonna say Once Upon a Time in America, Sergio Leone.
Yeah,
gangster
that's
film.
A big one. That's not a big one. Yeah,
that's 2 hours and 29 minutes.
Yeah,
it's like just as long. It's
no, I love that pick.
Jewish gangster. I think that's my pick.
But yeah, let us know what you thought of The Brutalist deserve its 10 Oscar nominations, and which one would you love to see it win. And then, Lachlan, we didn't get too busy after the 3.5 hours of The Brutalist, but we got up to something. So let's get to what we've been watching. All right, Lachlan, should I start? Do you want to start?
You go ahead. You don't. I don't have that much. We both don't have a lot.
We are still on some last bits of looking at 2024 as a movie year, and because a Belgian producer correspondent that likes tennis, but only if it's streamed on YouTube, and they take the feed and make it look like it's Wii Sports. Action enthusiast Kevin Dalmans has made me go see 2 movies that are in the same franchise called Eye for an Eye, or just a sequel to the other one. Those are like Chinese martial arts movies where he's like a sword wielder, but he's blind. And I watched Eye for an Eye and Eye for an Eye 2 because we're looking at like the year of 2024 in action. And I have a couple more to watch, and you can expect that video next week, where we go over like the best 5 action films of last year. And I just had a great time of it. Like, if it hasn't been on your radar, I know it's not really that popular on Letterboxd. It has like 1.1K and 500 logs for the second one. It was in Kevin's montage, but it's just like, it's crazy action. It's like, obviously you don't go into a movie like this for the story. It is pretty basic. There's like a bad guy, clear cut, just like horrible people that like, you know, do assault people, emotionally, physically, sexually, all of the above. It's pretty grotesque, and then you get the satisfaction of them just being brutally sliced apart by someone who goes Kill Bill style in both endings against like 1, 2, or 300 people at the same time. It is just mania. But it's pretty entertaining. I gave the first one a 6 out of 10, and the second one actually an 8 out of 10, I think. It was really, really, or 7.5, a bit more, but I had a great time with it. So if you want to get your fix of like great Chinese blind action, then go check out Eye for an Eye. But yeah, Lachlan, what were you up to?
So I watched the first episode of American Primeval, and it's a TV show that I had recommended to me, and holy fuck, dude. Have you
Is
seen
it good?
Have you seen it?
I haven't gotten around. No, I haven't really seen much.
I'm interested.
This is the first year where I've seen less movies than there are days so far in the year. It's really uncharacteristic for me.
I am very excited to continue this.
Okay.
Very interesting.
I didn't hear much about it.
Premise. I feel like it's gone under the radar. I feel like it's probably word of mouth is how it's getting so popular. But yeah, it is solid. Let's just say that. The premise that's been set up is super exciting. With a, I don't want to give too much away, but just a particular type of character who's basically looks like been lying to everybody, and immediately I was just like, well, yep, now you've got me. And it's set in like a Western era of America, so that is even more exciting. Yeah. I would like to continue this before I say I recommend it to everybody on the podcast. So give me a year and I'll get back to you.
And give me like 2 days and I'll binge it.
I also finished Dishonored 2. And did I talk about Dishonored 1 the week beforehand?
You talked about that you just started, last week. And you said you started 2. And I said, well, you better come back next week and finish Dishonored 2. And we were kind of joking because it's a longer game.
Yeah, well, I finished it. Thanks to having a Steam Deck, I can play it on that. Did I tell you how I felt about the first game? How I thought it was like pretty much a perfect game?
Yeah.
Yeah, this takes everything and makes it like 100 times better. Like it is an even better game. The level design is incredible, dude. I'm talking incredible, dude. With how it all reacts. So yeah, I've started replaying Dishonored 1, and I'm going to do.
Wait, you started replaying it?
Yep, and I'm going to kill everybody this time because I stealth and didn't kill. I didn't kill anyone. But I'm gonna kill everyone this time.
Well, I'm glad you're having fun with it, and it gives like that speaks for a great game if it has like replay value that isn't just based on a completionist thing. You know, if you seek the game out to play differently.
I like video games.
Playing that.
I haven't played Marvel Rivals yet. I probably should give it a try.
Yeah, we should definitely play it together, like on the worst ping.
The latency will be terrible.
It would be we can do that. It would be so funny. I also looked at Played Up this week and was like, wait, do any of you guys own this? No, Played Up. It's from the Oxcast gaming thing. It's like Overcooked, but a bit more simple. It like to me, Overcooked is like just pure chaos. I think Played Up is a bit more with skill. And I asked Kevin to get it because I kind of want to play that with you guys because it's like it's also it's not an online server, so like the latency shouldn't be an issue for this game. And it's basically similar to Overcooked. You getting stressed out and we end up fighting, and I feel like that sounds really funny. Not to jeopardize our relationships or anything, but it sounds like a blast. So I don't know. Next time it's on sale, I'll definitely hit you guys up. I guess that's all the stuff that we've been watching, that we've been playing this week. Again, as always, as we get into the news, those are happening on Mondays. I think in the first couple of weeks of January, we've streamed 5 or 6 times already on this channel with news, with the Oscar reactions, and we'll keep doing that. For example, our Sundance coverage will be live not this Monday, but the next week. We'll do that live with Connor. We'll talk about roughly like 20 movies there. And we'll do that with a couple of the videos. So you just be on the lookout for that if you're interested for the live stream feed on our channel. We did also do a live reaction to the nominations and then discuss it, which is something that we have to do as well. Lachlan, we do have to go over, because Kevin and I started this list of the Best Picture ranking of the top 10, but maybe we'll have a look at the nominations first and then we'll update the list, because we picked a 10 and we're like, okay, this is our ranking of where stuff would be. Unsurprisingly, Dune is at the top, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's have a look at the Oscar nominations briefly, because there were some upsets, and like you said, you kind of stay clear of it. We already touched on it earlier.
I want a genuine reaction.
Okay, so where do you want to look at first? Like, do you want to know what got the most nominations, or do you want to go by category?
Yeah, well, I'm assuming what you've just listed there on the show notes, 13 nominations for Emilia Pérez. That seems like a fucking lot. And I know the Brutalist got 10, so I'm going to assume Emilia Pérez got the most nominations.
Getting 13, there's only 3 movies that got 14.
Okay, sure.
And they're tied with like the second most for like a lot of other like amazing films. So it's a bit crazy that Emilia Pérez is up there, but they also got 2 song nominations.
Okay,
so
cool.
Take that with a grain of salt. A lot of these like Best Picture movies that maybe have 1, so that's an extra one that they maybe got. Wicked got 10, so it's up there, tied with The Brutalist. Complete Unknown got 8. Same goes for Conclave. The notable thing is that wherever The Brutalist and also Anora, which got 6, got nominated could be nominated for, they got nominated for. They didn't lose out on any possible nomination.
I can't believe Daniel Craig didn't get nominated for actor in a leading role.
Yeah, there's no nomination for challenges. There's no nomination for queer. Luca Guadagnino is shut out. And then if you look at Dune, it only got 5 nominations. Dune Part 2. It missed out on editing. It missed out on
that's fine.
I don't know. I missed out on score, but I think it was like, I don't know what was up with that.
I thought Hans Zimmer got like disqualified or some shit for because of whatever. Whatever.
Surprise to no one, I guess.
Cinematography.
Back to back, Villeneuve misses for Best Director. He's not nominated. Yeah. Do you wanna let's do you wanna see what? Let's go through what Dune actually was nominated for. So Dune was nominated for Best Picture. It was also nominated for cinematography, for visual effects, for sound, and for production design. So it basically got Best Picture and below the line. So obviously it didn't get any acting stuff, but it didn't get screenplay. It didn't get editing, which would be a big one usually to like be a contender for Best Picture, which we knew it wasn't, but it is still bonkers that I feel like this should have walked away with like 9 nominations.
What?
Like score obviously got disqualified. Makeup and hairstyling, I think it wasn't really up there.
What is going on?
And for film editing, it was like on Gold Derby #1, most predicted. And instead in film editing, we got Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Pérez, and Wicked, which I think the editing in Wicked wasn't good. So that's a bit odd over Dune, but it is what it is. And then to close out like the nomination count, The Substance also got 5. Same as Dune Part 2. Nosferatu got 4. I'm Still Here, surprisingly. We'll talk about that in a second. Got 3.
I haven't seen it.
And The Wild Robot also got 3. Surprisingly, it got into sound, which was...
I have a lot of movies to watch.
Sing Sing got 3 as well. Flow got 2. Nickel Boys got 2. A Real Pain got 2. The Apprentice got 2. Maria, Gladiator, and A Different Man all got 1. So yeah. I think it's a nice spread of movies that got nominated here. I don't agree with how much some of these films get, but I think the biggest surprise of the night was at the very end when they went through Best Picture, and a couple of films that could have been in there that missed were like September 5, A Real Pain, and Sing Sing are all not Best Picture nominees. Instead, the 2 films that got in there that weren't really expected to make it or were on the outlines was 1, Nickel Boys. But then the Brazilian showed up. I'm Still Here got into Best Picture, which is pretty crazy for a film that only has 3 nominations, that has kind of picked up after Fernanda Torres' Golden Globes win. I think more people ended up seeing it, and I believe because it is by what's the voting thing called, where it's like it matters where you place it. So then I assume that I'm Still Here got a lot of like 1, 2, 3 votes from people on their lists. That's why it like jumps so much past other films that were like already had precursors of being pretty popular with awards bodies. And yeah, it gets all the way in there.
I'm a little bit pissed off about this.
Kevin was pissed off the entire day yesterday after this happened. Like, I couldn't get him out of like being pretty angry. he didn't like the challenges thing. I mean, queer is also disappointing. If you look at lead, which is Adrian Brody, Timothée Chalamet, Colman Domingo, Ralph Fiennes, and Sebastian Stan. I think all 5 of these are great picks. I would probably kick out Ralph Fiennes if I had to make a pick, or Sebastian Stan, and definitely put in Daniel Craig. But there's not huge changes that I would make. I just feel like we discussed with our queer review, it's like you were saying it's your favorite performance of the year, and for me it's like up there. I think it's on the same level, if not better, than Adrian Brody. So yeah, it's a bit sad to see that miss. Sing Sing also missed out on supporting Clarence Macklin, ended up not being nominated for actor in a supporting role, but because Sing Sing got nominated for screenplay, Clarence Macklin is still a Oscar nominee, I guess, but not for his role. Anything else that jumps out at you?
No, I kind of want to send a message to the Academy.
Okay, and what would that message entail? To whom it may concern, how the fuck did y'all not nominate Denis Villeneuve?
No, it says Denis Villeneuve.
Way for director. Thanks, Lachlan. Yeah, no, that is. I mean, I feel like it was likely that he would not get in. We have this every year where it feels like in director there's like some sort of surprise in there. I was quite surprised that Maria makes it, but El Conde also got nominated. Pablo Larraín is just kind of popular with the awards body.
Last year we had Nolan, Justine Trent for Anatomy of a Fall, Scorsese with Flower Moon, Poor Things, Yorgos Lanthimos, and Jonathan Glazer's Zone of Interest. That's a fucking nomination group.
Yeah, that's a solid line. I'm happy that Coralie Farja got in, and Edward Berger
for The Substance. 100%. I think that
Edward Berger was out, but James Mangold was in, and it's a bit strange to.
Well, I haven't
James
seen
Mangold
a complete unknown, but I haven't heard anything crazy about it.
Yeah.
I feel like they just feel bad for the guy.
I mean, he moves from thing to thing where people don't appreciate it. Yeah. That and like Dial of Destiny.
Cinematography, we had Oppenheimer, El Conde, Killers of Flower Moon, Maestro, and Poor Things. And then this year, what have I got? The Brutalist, Doom Part 2, Emilia Pérez, Maria, Nosferatu. Well, I've seen 3 of the 5, and I already know what Maria's going to look like, because I'm pretty sure it's the same cinematographer.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's going to be fucking, so it's going to be hot as fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, it's the same guy who did El Conde. He got nominated 2 years in a row. Look at him go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What a guy.
I think other than that, there's not something like incredibly controversial that's happening. But I guess it's just the unpopularity.
Daniel Craig wasn't nominated for Queer. That's pretty controversial.
I think people didn't care for that as much as I'm Still Here was a surprise, and Challenges missing out. I think those were probably the biggest upsets.
I don't think it's fair that I'm Still Here gets to be nominated for Best International Picture and also Best Picture.
Well, Emilia Pérez does the same, so
I don't think that's fair.
You know,
that's not fair.
You think they should just be an international?
Well, if you are in the race to be Best Picture, you then don't get to have the ability to win Best International as well.
Yeah, I think that is always like a waste. That's why I was really happy when I'm Still Here got into Best Picture, because it means there's so much love behind it. People just haven't caught up with it. And we were like debating, okay, is it possible that maybe I'm Still Here beats Emilia Pérez in international? Would be crazy. Unlikely still, but that would be fun. I'm really happy for international that The Girl with the Needle got nominated. It just came out today that we are recording on Mubi, so go watch that. It's an incredible movie. We'll definitely review it soon as well. The Seed of the Sacred Fig and Flo got in. So no, the Thai movie about the How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies, or Kneecap also didn't get in. The Miglio doesn't get in. And Flo also gets double nominated, I guess, because it is in animation and then also in international.
So no Kneecap.
I feel like to me, the thing with international is lift the cap of like a movie needs to select a country needs to select it, because like All We Imagine Is Light would have been in here if India didn't select a different movie, and France would have 17 movies they submit every year, but then also make the international film race 10, and yeah, maybe you get disqualified if you get into Best Picture, then it doesn't overlap, maybe. I don't know, but then you also purposely like stealing an Oscar from them. So I don't know. That would probably wouldn't be
Like,
popular.
do we think, like, honestly, that Emilia Pérez is going to win Best Picture?
It could. There's not that many movies who've gotten nominated 13 times and didn't win Best Picture. So
I can't wait. Let's do a drinking game if I'm here for the Oscars.
We'll definitely do it. It's morning for you as well, like middle of the day. Yeah, definitely take a shot each time Emilia Perez
Wins.
Which hopefully we won't even get drunk. But yeah, that's it for whatever's nominated for the Oscars. And then if you have a quick squeeze over here, Lachlan, we did make a list that I can show the people on screen right now for Quiet on Set Best Picture ranking in a way. And maybe we could change that real quick and see if you have anything that you feel like should be switched up. Because we have Dune at number 1, Anora at number 2, Conclave, The Substance, Brutalist, I'm Still Here, Complete Unknown, Wicked, Emilia Perez, and then Nickel Boys, none of us have seen yet. So that's at the bottom for now. Would you really want to change anything about like this this ranking?
Other than maybe I'd move Anora, but yeah.
Nora down? More Nora up.
I would move Anora up, but
yeah.
That's it.
Kevin
and I would put
Kevin
The
and I
Substance
did this,
above
right?
Conclave.
Me too, but we can do that because we outvote Kevin here. So we'll put The Substance over Conclave.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? So that was our change.
I know you wouldn't, but I would personally put The Brutalist above Conclave as well.
I also I think I gave Conclave like a 7 out of 10. No, an 8 out of 10. I would also put The Brutalist above it, but because I know Kevin is at a 7 out of 10 for The Brutalist and at a 9 out of 10 for Conclave, I guess when it comes to the three of us, it still would rank above it. But maybe Kevin on the rewatch likes it more and we can move it above. But for now, this is our list. Not to be taken seriously, other than Nickel Boys is beneath Emilia Perez on a first glance, and it's just because we haven't seen it yet. But I already got my ticket because there's no Swiss distribution for the film, which shame on you, Swiss distributors. Like, how the fuck is that happening? It happens way too often where we just don't get a movie. Similar, like Presents, for example, Steven Soderbergh, no one's picking that up. But there are a couple of screenings in the middle of February, and for the first date, on a Thursday, I already copped a ticket. So on that Friday, when we record the podcast, I can talk about Nickel Boys. And now it's up to us to, I guess, complete the Oscar nominees watch list. I got 6 more to watch when it comes to the features, and then I have only once seen one of the 15 shorts. I don't know if I'll watch all of those, but yeah, let us know what your biggest upset, what were you happy about? If there's any Brazilians watching, let's go. You must be really happy about it. And yeah, and then also Sundance has started this week. Again, we are gonna cover roughly 20 movies. With I mean Connor and I don't think Lachlan has any plans to see some, but we might be able to get you a few screenings if you were so inclined to join us there. Yeah, okay, yeah. No, we can definitely arrange that. And you'll find that exactly a week from now, on Monday night, we are likely going to do the live stream for that to go over that festival. And then last bit of news that we definitely want to discuss, even though news isn't happening in the show anymore. We've done a bunch of news today, but it's just Oscar nominations is an exception here. But Robert Eggers' next 2 movies are kind of already, in motion. First, he's doing Werewolf, which is already set for a release on Christmas 2026. So that's crazy. Usually he took I guess 2 years is about the time that he takes per movie. Because The Northman into Nosferatu also was 2 years. But I guess Nosferatu, he's been working on that for a while. He has always wanted to do that. He's reteaming with Focus Features. I assume they're going to give him as much money as he needs for this. And I'm excited. If you go by Vampire of the Werewolf movie, Lachlan, what do you like more as a creature?
Swamp Man.
Swamp Man, okay. That is none of the above. That wasn't an available category, but you want him to move on from werewolves to Swamp Man in 2028?
No. What was it? Werewolves or...
Oh, vampires. He's done vampires with Nosferatu. Werewolves. Which one would you be more interested in?
Interested in?
Yeah, just the creature thing.
Is... can I get Lily Rose Depp to play the werewolf?
I don't think she gets that hairy. So
okay.
I don't know if that works.
Bigfoot.
It's got to be Bill Skarsgård again. No, we're both really very much looking forward to this. It's pretty exciting, right? Whatever Robert Eggers is coming up next, and I guess it's another like monster flick sort of type deal. And then he's also doing the sequel for Labyrinth. It's not a remake or anything. It is a sequel with TriStar, and I haven't seen the original Labyrinth. I know it's a bit of a cult classic. It's from the mid 80s, 86, I believe. And we'll keep those on our radar, but it's gonna be a bit until we get the next Robert Eggers movie. But I assume you're a bit more excited for the Werewolf movie than the Labyrinth sequel.
I think I'm keen for the Labyrinth sequel more than the Werewolf movie.
Really? Okay, that's fun.
I'm super keen to see what they do with Bowie's character. I want to know who has the balls to do what Bowie did, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen the original Labyrinth?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Long ago.
Blind spot.
Long ago. So yeah.
All right, that brings us to the end of news. And then we do have a couple of new releases out this week. First, on January 31st, Companion, a compelling horror film, makes its way onto the screen. And we might be reviewing that as our main review next week. And then we got Dogman, an animated kids film, as well as The Valiant One. Lana Condor is in a very, what it seems like, a patriotic military movie.
And then on limited release, we have No Other Land. Ewan puts in quotes, I wonder how limited it will be. Yes. I don't get it, because I haven't seen this film.
Well,
but
because
it's a
it had
documentary.
no distribution. And I wonder if it has distribution now, or if it just is limited in the way that like a select bit of theaters directly are going by the production company to screen it in the theaters. I haven't looked into this, so it might not be anywhere close to you to where you're able to see it. So my question about how limited this is. And then out on VOD this week from January 27th to February 2nd, we have a couple of films that are quite exciting. First up, Baby Girl is out in the same week that it comes to theaters in Australia and in Switzerland. Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, is already out on VOD, as well as The Fire Inside, A Ghost Cat, Anzu. Moana 2 is out on premium VOD in the same week that they get sing-along screenings in Australia. And then Paradise, a Hulu show, is starting its weekly release.
Then on Jan 29th, Disney Plus subscribers, you are getting each week from there on out your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man TV show that's animated as well.
And then on Jan 30th, Here is out on Netflix in the States. And then Your Quarterly Invited is out on Prime. I don't know if that one will go over well and is going to be funny, but it's a callback to like the mid 2000s. And then The Recruit over on Netflix goes into its second season.
On Jan 31st, coming out in premium VOD, we've got Sing Sing and The Count of Monte Cristo.
Out in Australia this week, we got Baby Girl, Companion as well. Then you are also getting Maria, which has already been on Netflix in the States for a while. And the aforementioned Moana 2 is getting the sing-along version screened in theaters, as well as the ongoing run of the Spider-Man movies being rescreened. We've arrived at the best one yet, The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
And then out in Switzerland this week, the long-awaited, long film, The Brutalist, that we spoke about today, which, to be fair, for an hour and 20 recording at this stage, not bad, I reckon, for a
no intermission needed.
No intermission needed. Baby Girl is out, and Paddington in Peru.
And that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Again, next week we are likely going to look at Companion, maybe Baby Girl. We haven't really decided yet. I don't know, maybe we're missing something, but there's just a lot of like Oscar films that Lachlan's gonna catch up with. Maybe we even review Emilia Pérez. I think we said that 2 weeks ago as well. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But let us know what you've been watching this week. And I think we haven't done that yet. You can become a member now if you all the way at the end of this. If you want to support us, I guess for $2 a month, you'll get a special shout out and early access to episodes. Now you'll find it there if you're interested in that. Also join our Discord if you want to be more active in there and get the news straight as Kev and I find it on the internet. We just posted in the news feed. And yeah, that's the shout outs done. That's the episode done. There's no Dishonored 2, so Lachlan, you'll just go back from Dishonored 1 to Dishonored 2 in like the next couple of months, or what's the plan?
There's a Dishonored there's the Death of an Outsider, which is another one that I haven't
Spin-off?
played yet, but I would like to
Okay.
do the replay first. But I might just go do that next. I just started a playthrough just because I was bored. So yeah.
Well, we'll see you next week then. Goodbye.
Bye.